Some families want to know if they can teach their little one to fall asleep independently at bedtime or do sleep training at the same time as weaning or reducing overnight feeding. And the short answer is yes, probably with some good news too, because most of the time, if you do sleep training or teach your little one to fall asleep independently at bedtime, those night wakings and night feedings just sort of go away on their own. And that's because all little ones wake naturally during the night and then need what they had at bedtime when they fell asleep. So I suspect if your little one wakes and then needs to be nursed or bottle fed back to sleep during the night, that they probably need that when they go to sleep at bedtime. The first thing that you want to do is think about your bedtime routine and make sure that that nighttime feeding is at the beginning of the routine and maybe even before the routine and outside of the bedroom altogether, because you really want to break that association between I either get breastfed or bottle fed and then I fall asleep. The second thing that you want to do is spend some time with that routine and see if those night wakings and those night feedings reduce. Because most of the time when they learn to fall asleep independently at bedtime, that skill generalizes overnight and they can return to sleep on their own. For some babies, though, you're going to have to do some sleep training and some weaning overnight. And in that case, if you're breastfeeding, you can reduce the amount of time that you breastfeed by about 1 or 2 minutes every 1 or 2 nights, or you can reduce the amount of ounces that you give by about 1 or 2 ounces every 1 or 2 nights until you're no longer feeding. And then you can even, if they're waking and feeding multiple times during the night, you can even just start with one feeding, work on that feeding to reduce it and eliminate it, and then move on to the other feedings. But most of the time, even just moving that feeding will help a great deal. The last thing you want to consider is the baby's age. So newborns will definitely need to be eating overnight, being nursed or bottle fed. And then babies between about 3 and 6 months old who were born full term also may need to be fed once or twice overnight. But unless your healthcare provider has told you otherwise and there's a significant growth issue, once your baby is 6 months old, they no longer need to be fed overnight.